Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Despite the country's difficult economic and military situation, the pace of film industry development in Ukraine is quite impressive. Ukrainian films get prestigious awards at international festivals, thus forming a new face of Ukraine. So what will be the state funding of movie industry in 2019, and what new releases should the audience expect in the nearest future? To talk more about this, we're joined in the studio today by Pylyp Illenko. He is the head of Ukrainian State Film Agency. Hello, and thank you for joining.
Hello.
So, Ukrainian government allocated over 1 billion hryvnia for funding the state film industry in 2019. How is the money going to be distributed?
Well, it's the same amount which we had this year, and it's one of the largest sums Ukrainian film industry had ever received from the government.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good news. Half of these funds will be allocated to the Ukrainian State Film Agency, which I'm head of, and the rest will probably allocate it, judging by the draft budget, which is now undergoing the procedures in Parliament. Judging by that, the rest of the money will be allocated to Ukrainian Cultural Fund,
mm-hmm.
which is a new institution, and which has been established only a year ago, and this year they are for the first time having their selection of different kind of projects. They support not only film projects, but all artistic projects from the different artistic disciplines.
Any particular projects that are going to be launched in 2019 and that need special funding you would like to talk about?
We have a lot of films which are now supported by our agency, and they're on a different periods of their pre-production, production, or post-production. And this year, this autumn, we have now a lot of premieres, around not around, but 18 Ukrainian premieres only in the second half of the year, and I'm talking about feature films. And next year, probably we will continue that trend. We'll see a lot of new films, and it's hard, to pick one or two of them because there are so many, and they're very different, different genres, different topics, different way of filming them. And I think that this diversity will help all Ukrainian viewers to find something which they
mm-hmm.
particularly like, and will also, I think, show some serious projects for the international audience. For example, next year will be released our new film, which is a screen adaptation of the famous novel by Ivan Franko, Zahar Berkut. Its English title will be Rising Hawk,
mm-hmm.
and it's done in cooperation with our American colleagues. We have some very well-known American actors on that project, like Robert Patrick, who starred in Terminator 2 as T-1000 Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that this will be a big success, not only on the Ukrainian market, but also in the English-speaking countries.
Speaking of the international markets, from October 26th through the 28th, Days of Ukrainian Cinema are going to be held in Lithuania for the first time ever. How do you plan to amuse Lithuanian public?
We will just show them not best, but a selection of new Ukrainian films, and we'll also show some classical pieces. I think that such events as Ukrainian Film Days or Film Weeks, which we support very often in different countries, not only in Europe, but
mm-hmm.
also in North America and other places, are a best way to present our country, because cultural diplomacy is the most effective way of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And if the audience will see new Ukrainian films, classical Ukrainian films, they will know about our country much more than they will ever know from news or something like that.
So this is just another opportunity to use to make the international community aware of what Ukraine is actually like?
Yes, because there are different films, you know, different topics and of different genres, but they will show contemporary Ukraine, they will speak about our history, they will show Ukrainian people not only how we make films and what is important for us when we make films, but also the way we live, the way we, what are our main values, where are we going to, and what do we want to be, and where we have started from.
One of the recently screened films made in Ukraine is Mad Wedding, or Шалене весілля.
Yeah. And it's a great success.
Yes, it appeared that the movie actually set a new box office record. Now, what's the record?
And I think the record, you know, the counter is still clicking or whatever. And I hope that with each day the record is now rising. So the record which we fixed on Sunday is over 40 million hryvnias. This is 4 million more than the previous record. So, and it's really a big success. And now it's a challenge for the competitors. Also, it rises the plank, and now we can hope that we will see some other films showing that amount of attention from the audience. And also, I think that this record will be, I will be very happy to see if it hits 50 million. But
taking into account that
we'll see.
Mad Wedding is a comedy, right? And right now, I'm sorry, but this is my opinion. Right now, among Ukrainian directors, the topic of war, the theme of war and Donbass is really popular, and most of the time they're using it.
No, not really. That is completely different. We had 6 premieres like in sequence in these months and previous weekends, and out of these 6 films, 4 are comedies and only 2 are dedicated to the theme of war.
That's what I meant
Donbass.
to say. Maybe people in Ukraine are now more striving for comedies other than documentaries. What's your opinion?
Regularly people come to cinemas not to watch real life, you know. They want some recreation, they want some entertainment, they want some positive emotions. They see enough negative things on the street and which surround them sometimes in their day-to-day life. And also the experience of other countries shows us the same, that comedies were always very popular genres in hard times. For example, during the Great Depression in United States, we saw films made by, for example, Charlie Chaplin, which were the leaders of box office and very popular among people. And when American economy has grown to a huge success after Second World War in the 60s, in the 70s, they started to make films which are very tough, very hard, and like Apocalypse Now, for example. So it's usually when people are living hard times, they want to see films with some positive emotions. And when they have enough positive emotions in real life, they sometimes want to compensate that with some extreme experience in the cinema. So, but we now do a lot of different genres, and we touch upon a lot of topics. So we want to satisfy all the demand which is coming from Ukrainian audience, and not only Ukrainian, because we start now to promote our films abroad, and we have already the cases of success, as with the animation feature The Stolen Princess, which has been sold to many markets, and this process is not over.
Nevertheless, 2 Ukrainian movies, 2 movies made in Ukraine, are about hard times, and they're both nominated for Oscars.
They're not yet nominated, they're in the long list.
They're in, yes, I'm sorry, in the long list. Those are Donbass and Women at War.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that those 2 movies are about war.
No, actually, The Woman at War is not about war.
It's about women at war.
It's about Icelandic ecological activists who adopts a child in Ukraine. And by saying a woman at war, probably the authors had to say that she had her personal war in brackets as an activist, as a radical activist.
Okay. In any case, what would be your evaluation of the chances of those two films to actually make it to the list of the nominees?
The process will be, it goes that first they are submitted by the countries. We submitted Donbass, and The Woman at War was submitted by Iceland. Then now it's 83 films submitted in the long list. Now there will be a selection by Academy, which will select a short list out of 9 films. Out of those 9, there would be 5 nominates, and then 1 will win the Oscar. I think that it will be even a success if we will be in the short list, because this never happened for Ukrainian film before.
Why Donbass?
This was a selection of Ukrainian Oscar Committee, which is a very independent body. We do not influence their decisions, so it was the choice, and there was a competition. But I think this film has potential because it was a big festival hit. It got a prize in Cannes as the best. Sergei Loznitsa was awarded as the best director in the program called Certain Regard, which is the second prestigious program of Cannes Film Festival, and it has been also screened at some other important festivals, so people in the film industry and critics know about it. It was reviewed by very important American magazines, and so it has good chances. It has very good worldwide sales agent, and this gives the potential, actually.
We've talked a lot today about movies produced in Ukraine. Overall, how would you evaluate the state of Ukrainian cinematography currently?
It's reviving. So we had a great past of Ukrainian film industry and Ukrainian film art. And but we had a very serious setback in the 90s and the beginning of this century. And now we are reviving, we are rebuilding, we are emerging film industry in Europe, and we want to be a part of the international community of filmmakers. So we are doing a lot of films, we are trying to improve ourselves, and we are regaining our audience in Ukraine, and we will start competing we already started our competition for audiences all over the world. It's a very hard task, but we like challenges, let's say.
That's a good thing to hear. We wish you all the luck in what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
That was Pylyp Illenko. He is the head of the Ukrainian State Film Agency. Thank you so much for watching UATV. Stay tuned for the rest.